Greetings, lovely people, and welcome to Fast Track Thoughts, where I give my first impressions and kind of a review of the newest TV shows and movies that come out, mostly TV shows. Moon Knight is is out, episode 1, and yeah, as you can probably tell by how I'm talking, I'm coming straight out of the episode and I'm just a little bit confused, but we'll get into that. Spoilers ahead for Moon Knight episode 1, the Goldfish problem. Let's just get into it. Okay, so I'm going to just go through my notes first, purely just what I wrote down, because I'm going to be honest, I don't quite know what I just watched, and I don't really know if I want to rewatch it or not, but yeah. So we start off with Stephen, or Mark, or Moon Knight, whatever, the main character, cuffed to his bed, presumably so he doesn't sleepwalk or whatever, which is kind of the impression that you're left with, of that's the reason why he does it. But yeah, he's got his ankle cuffed to a post next to his bed. It is what it is, I guess. He has a fish called Gus that only has one fin. Cool. He gets ready to go to work, and on the bus he's kind of sleepy. He nearly falls asleep on someone's bag. He's drinking coffee just to get by and stuff. And then when he gets to his job at the museum, he runs the gift shop at the museum, and one of the tour guides comes up to him and asks if they're still on for a dinner date that Stephen doesn't remember. And also his manager or whatever, the person that's actually in charge of him, keeps calling him Stevie. He just keeps correcting her, but I don't know. But then, because of the whole dinner date thing, she overhears that and points out that they're going for steak, even though Steven's apparently vegan. And Steven's just a bit confused about it all, and at this point, I'm also very confused. I'm gonna get this out of the way. I do know Moon Knight as a character. I know that he's generally a sign. He's there to represent or I don't know. He's a metaphor a lot of the time for what used to be called multiple personality disorder. I can't remember the modern term for it. I know that isn't the correct term anymore. But that disorder. But yeah, so far in the episode, I'm just really confused. He is talking to one of the street performers, one of the people that dress up as statues. This is all set in London, by the way. If you didn't know that, it's set in London. Sorry, my brain's melting. Honestly, this episode is just, I'm so confused what's even happening. But yeah, he's talking to one of the statue performers. If you've ever been to London, or I'm sure they're in other cities around the world, you'll know what I'm about. The people that just are painted fully in gold and wearing gold, or so they can be silver, or they might be wearing grey or something to look like a statue, and they're not moving, they don't talk, they might do a weird face randomly just to catch you off guard, but yeah, they're just statue people. Yeah, he just talks to the statue person. There's a lot of reflections and shadows in use throughout this, and it does become more of a thing later on in the episode, but yeah, from the start there's a lot of reflections, a lot of shadows that are showing duality and stuff like that, which is really interesting, really creative use of lighting and reflection. It's really well done. And then he is listening to a podcast on how to stay awake, talking about using puzzles and stuff like that, and reading books and stuff. And then he wakes up in a field with a dislocated jaw. And he starts getting shot at after a voice in his head starts yelling at him that the idiot's in control again. And, yeah. He's then, as he gets shot at by two guys that are originally in a tower. He runs into the town near the field, and all the townspeople are gathering and bowing for a guy that at the very start of the episode, I forgot to mention this, but at the very start of the episode, the guy we find out is Arthur, I believe his name is wearing sandals with broken glass in them. So yeah, everyone is gathering around and bowing to him. They say that, well, he says that his name is Arthur, and he, I guess, is judging people, and he judges one person to be a good man, and then he judges an old woman to not be good, and drains her life force, or something to that effect, killing her. And, yeah, then Arthur recognizes Stephen to be an assassin or something, or a mercenary or something like that, to which Stephen goes, no, that's not the case, and tries to give back a scarab that he'd apparently stolen. Then he kind of blacks out, and presumably Mark goes and kills some of the cultists. So Mark is the other personality, the non-idiot that takes control. And Mark kills the cultists that were trying to carry him away. But then potentially it was all a dream, because Stephen wakes up and just goes about his day. Then he realizes he's actually lost 2 days when he goes to the dinner date that he was expecting at the correct time, but then it's the wrong day. It was supposed to be Friday, and he's now on Sunday. He doesn't remember the last 2 days. You know, he doesn't remember Friday, he doesn't remember Saturday. And, even before that, Gus now has both his fins, and he goes to the fish shop for some reason. And the woman at the fish shop, at the pet store, basically says that he was there yesterday, which would have been the Saturday, which he doesn't remember, obviously. And twice during this episode, he calls his mum. Neither times does she answer, but he just talks to her and updates her roughly on his life. He does lie a little bit, but I mean, I kind of get why he lies to make himself look a bit better, which I'm sure it's just to make his mother proud or something. And then when he's in his apartment, he realizes a table's been moved. There's a hole in the wall. There's a missing board in the wall, or a broken board in the wall, where he finds all of Mark's things. There's a key, and there's a phone, and the phone has a bunch of missed calls and texts from someone called Layla, or Lila. I don't quite know how it's pronounced. It's never said in the episode, it's only written. And this Layla, Stephen calls her. She's been worried sick about Mark, and doesn't seem to realise that, Stephen and Mark are the same person or anything like that, or isn't familiar with this. So clearly Mark hasn't explained it, even though Mark does seem to actually know what's going on when we see him in a little bit later. So Mark starts talking to Stephen through the reflection in the mirror. There's lights flickering and everything starts shaking, and Stephen tries to escape the building in the elevator, and he's trying to get to the ground floor, but he keeps ending up going to the 3rd floor and the 5th floor and the 6th floor, and just all over the place. And as the lights are flickering and everything, and he's surrounded by, the infinite mirrors in the lift, an Egyptian mummy or bird god or something like that. I think they do say which god it is specifically. I just didn't pick up on it at all. Is moving towards the elevator that Stephen's in, and then just becomes an old lady that lives in the building. And it's a weird scene, and the woman gets a bit weirded out by him and starts to panic a little bit. Nothing happens in that scene really, and then Stephen, too many names here. Stephen goes to work, but on his way to work, first off, he wakes up in fear on the bus already, and then he sees Arthur and knows that he's being followed. He tries to tell the security, who calls him Scotty, whether that's just a thing of he doesn't care about him, so he doesn't know his name, or whether that's like maybe that's a different personality that we haven't seen yet. Maybe, I don't know. But in any case, the security doesn't want to help, and his manager is like, "You need to get back to work." Stephen anyway goes after someone that he recognized from being on the bus and also from the cult, and is confronted by Arthur. So Arthur finds Stephen in the museum. Stephen finds out that one of the security guards at the museum is actually one of the cultists, one of the security guards they actually knew as a person, and Arthur states that there's chaos in Stephen, which to me kind of reads as like chaos magic, which is the kind of magic that Wanda uses, the Scarlet Witch, which would be interesting if that's the case. But yeah, then that just kind of ends. We have a few scenes after hours at the museum where reflections aren't reflections. It'll be a reflection of Stephen, but really it's Mark, and it'll not actually follow what Stephen's doing. And then a demon dog attacks, and Mark in the mirror asks to take control, at which point when he's given control by Stephen, he becomes Moon Knight and beats up the demon. And that's the episode. Yeah, even like reading it all out loud, I feel like I just had a fever dream. Never mind anything that's going on for Stephen. Like I feel like I'm going insane with this episode. I'll be honest, I wasn't hugely looking forward to this show. Moon Knight is a character that I somewhat enjoy. It's like he's a character that, especially within the larger pantheon of Marvel Knights, he's a perfectly good character. He's very much how I've always seen him as the Batman of Marvel. And I know that's a stereotype that is applied to him a lot, but yeah, I personally think that kind of fits. And yeah, so far at least, this isn't what I expected of Moon Knight necessarily. And I don't know if it's just because we're not getting the full story necessarily. We barely see anything of Mark. We know what Mark did generally, but it's like the fact that there's multiple days skipped and there's events that Stephen doesn't know about, and so it's just there's a lot of odd things going on, and I'm sure 1 or 2 episodes in, 2 or 3 episodes in, should I say? I'm sure at that point it might click and I might understand it and I might get it and quite enjoy it, but as is with this first episode, I'm just confused, honestly, and I'm a fan of TV and film making me think, making me being a bit thought provoking in some way, but I'm not a fan of being confused. I like to be able to identify what's actually happening, and as I say, I understand Moon Knight as a character that he's he's got multiple personalities, and they take control of him, and Moon Knight and stuff is just one of those many personalities, and I don't know, it's just I don't know, it's a weird one. It's a really weird one, and yeah, dissociative identity disorder as well. That's what the actual term for it is. I'm gonna have to try and remember that for future episodes. But yeah, I just I don't know. This has been a very odd piece of Marvel, and especially I've been rewatching Daredevil and the Defenders, and like just compared to those, this is so out there and just so weird. And I mean, there's weird stuff in those shows as well, but like, I don't know, this just it feels so odd, and I'm sure it'll make sense by the end, or I hope it does at least. If not, it's a Marvel thing. It's not bad. I don't know. I almost just want it to be more action than it is, but that could change in future episodes. I want it to be a little bit more clear. Like, I want us to actually see like what Mark does. I just maybe that'll be the next episode. Maybe next episode will only have Mark, and the time skips will be whenever Steven's in control. Maybe, I don't know. It's completely possible. I'm not sure, but yeah, that it's an interesting it's an interesting show so far. Obviously, one episode in, I'm not expecting it to blow me away instantly. Falcon and Winter Soldier I did end up enjoying, even though I wasn't enjoying it at the start. I'm trying to think of other shows that I felt the same, but it's like there's definitely been stuff, especially from Marvel, where it's not been great at the start. I mean, Book of Boba Fett I ended up enjoying by the end of it. I didn't think it was a very good Boba Fett show, but it was a good show generally. So Disney Plus stuff, it's changed my mind before, so potentially could be fine. But yeah, right now I'm just a bit confused. I might have to rewatch the episode again, and what I'll probably do is just rewatch it prior to episode 2 coming out, and that'd probably help me a little bit to understand what happens in episode 2 a bit better as well. So yeah, in any case, that's going to be it for this episode of Fast Track Thoughts. If you did enjoy it, make sure to like it, subscribe if you're new here, and ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Otherwise, I'll be doing this every single Wednesday. Moon Knight season is definitely upon us. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. So without further ado, it's from me, and yeah. Bye.
It's been a long week. I feel like I could use a vacation.